Look here, can you tell me how far I am from the clubhouse?
What clubhouse?
Why, the West Windlesham Golf Club, of course.
I'm sorry, but I never heard of it. I come from Walthamstow way myself.
Walthamstow? Good God, this isn't Walthamstow, is it?
No, it isn't. Nothing like it. Perhaps it's what you said. West what's it?
West Windlesham. Ought to be, because I was playing on the course there. It doesn't look like it to me. Do you play golf? No, I didn't suppose you do.
Me play golf? Well, nobody's ever asked me that before. I had to come here to be asked that.
Yes, very amusing. Well, I was playing on the course there at West Windlesham, and I think one of those two young idiots behind, I told them they were too close. Must have knocked me out with a long drive or something. Then I must have been somewhere deep in the rough, or rolled into a bunker, unconscious and so on, you know. And then started wandering about. That's all I can think.
Dare say it was. I was doing a bit of shopping myself.
Look here, if anybody should ask for me, I'm Sir George Gedney. Sir George Gedney.
Fancy.
I suppose you haven't seen anybody about, have you?
Yes, two ladies and a gentleman went along that way. If you hurry, you'll catch 'em. I'm a bit tired myself, or I'd have caught up to 'em.
That way, eh? Expect they know where we are. Live around here, probably. Sure to, eh? I say, anybody there?
Do you play golf, he says. No, I don't suppose you do, he says. Me play golf, I says. Well, nobody's ever asked me that before, I says.
Malcolm! Malcolm! Malcolm!
Is it Sir George Gedney you want?
No, I was calling for my husband. I'm Mrs. Stritton.
Pleased to meet you, I'm sure. Oh, Mrs. Wadley. There was a short and sharp gentleman, old as she was, that went along that way with two ladies. Could he be your husband, Mrs. Stritton?
Doesn't sound like him to follow.
Was your husband with you?
Yes, we were together until about 10 minutes ago. We're always together, we always have been.
Well, that's how some likes it and some don't.
And then he said, let's go along here. And I said, no, Malcolm, let's try this way. But I don't think he heard me, and now I don't know what's happened to him.
He'll be turning up, I expect. I heard them first three saying there was some sort of war round there. That ought to stop him wandering. I should sit down if I were you, dear, and give up worrying. The moment you give up worrying about husbands, they always turn up.
Yes, but it was an accident. He wasn't trying to get away from me. He simply didn't hear me.
I dare say, but he'll turn up. Excuse me asking, Mrs. Stritton, but do you live round here?
No, we live in Leamington. Mr. Stritton's cashier of a bank there.
Fancy.
We were going to stay with my uncle who has a large farm in Tewkesbury. We were in the train, you see.
Yes?
I don't quite know what happened then.
Same with me. I was doing a bit of shopping.
We were going through a tunnel, and I remember Malcolm, my husband, saying, are you all right, Dorothy? And I said, yes, dear, of course I'm all right, but what's happened? And he said, I don't know, I wonder if we're dead. I said, don't be silly, dear, of course we're not dead.
Of course we're not dead. We'd feel different if we were dead.
That's just what I told him.
Either we'd feel different or we'd feel the same. And I feel just the same, feet aching and rheumatic pains in my legs. Besides, I've got me shopping basket, and I wouldn't have that if I were dead. That'd be silly. As I was saying, I was doing a bit of shopping.
I'm going back to look for him.
I wouldn't.
But who knows where he may get to. Malcolm! Malcolm!
One of the worrying kind, and a fat lot of good it doesn't.
I see, and what happened then?
So I go straight to the manageress and say to her, all right, Duchess, you can't want me to go far any faster than I want to go, see? I don't mind work, but I like to eat when I'm working. And there's your uniform, such as it is, and there's your wonderful list of rules and regulations, and you know what you can do with them. And I'll just have my cards out. So she does.
Yes, but I don't see how that brought you there.
I haven't finished yet. Took her down into the bar, just to show me independence, and have 3 gin and limes on an empty stomach. I walk out, still telling me mind what to think of her and her restaurant, and bingo!
What does bingo stand for?
Well, it stands for Biff, Wallop and the Blackout. I don't know if I hit something, or someone hit me, but there's a blackout. And the next minute it seems I'm wandering down here asking you the way.
Same with me. I was doing a bit of shopping.
I didn't notice you.
Excuse me asking, but is that gentleman with you, Mr. Stritton?
Yes, I'm Mr. Stritton.
Well, your wife's looking for you.
Yes, of course, I've been looking for her.
Since when?
No, really, I have. Where is she?
Along that way somewhere.
Oh, Dorothy?
Well, say it as if you mean it. Dorothy!
Malcolm! Malcolm!
Yes, dear, here I am.
Here he is!
sweetheart.
Oh, he was.
Come along, dear, we ought to find out exactly where we are. Unless, of course, your friend's already told you.
If you mean me, I haven't, because I don't know. But he did ask me, after he asked me if I'd seen you.
Really? Come along, dear.
Yes, of course. Excuse me.
Dreadfully worried then on that awful woman. Who is she? Left it her.
Really, Dorothy?
Oh, we know where's the trousers there, don't we?
I knew it before I saw it.
I guessed it before I met her. Have a cigarette?
No, thank you, dear. Never use them. What I'd like is a proper sit down. You know what it's like when you've been on your feet shopping, and I've been on my feet all day before that. If you'll excuse me, dear, I'll have a look along there, see if there's something more comfortable. Oh, well, I feel better now. I don't know where I am, or what's going to happen, but I feel better. And anyhow, I didn't know what was going to happen before this happened. So what's the odds? Still with us? Yes, dear, I'm here, having a nice rest too. But don't stop talking, I like to listen.
Well, that's all right then, because I like to talk. Not all the time, you know, but when I'm in the mood of it. Have I been a waitress?
No, but my cousin Junkis was a waitress. Oh, looks lovely in a uniform too, she do. My cousin showed me a photo.
Oh, that's a life, I'm telling you. You talk about your feet. I thought sometimes mine must be as big as footballs. And it's a mean life too. My God, it's mean. You wouldn't believe, but most of the time, the management's trying to cheat the customers. Half the time, the customers are trying to cheat the management. It's a proper monkey house. The men aren't so bad, except of course half of them have got their pig's eyes sticking out, trying to see what you've got under your uniform. And they pinch you too.
Oh, one of them pinched me once. Up at Clapham Road it was, outside of Greengrocer's.
Oh, women. Not all of them, though. I just had some little tied on, crept in and out. Couldn't make enough to wait on at all. Expect you're that sort. But half the rest thought they were buying you along with their pot of tea and beans on toast. And there's a sort with the sticky out eyes and the parrot nose. You know the ones I mean. My God, I could have killed them. What's the matter with people anyway?
They're all strung up inside, dear, because they're not getting their little bit of happiness.
Well, they're going to take it out to somebody else.
That's right.
Well, I don't think it's right about it. Here. Say, where are we?
Well, I haven't been able to work it out. You see, I was doing a bit of shopping.
Mind you, empty stomach or no empty stomach, I ought to be able to stand 3 gin and tonics. You've been boiling down ever so fast. Because I was upset, not pretending not to be, you know how you do. No, I was upset, all right. Even so, what's 3 gin and tonics?
Price of our day's work, dear.
No, I mean, what are they to somebody who's worked behind a bar same as I have? But 3 years behind bars, 6 months in London, how's that then? 18 months in Newcastle, where they call it Gedney. And 6 months in Daventry. Didn't like Daventry. Anybody could have Daventry for me. And then, hello, what's this?
Hello, beautiful.
I might have known. There'd have to be one of these conquering heroes and gorgeous beasts.
Talking to yourself, beautiful.
No, I'm not. Don't call me beautiful.
Why aren't you?
No, I'm not, though I've seen worse.
So have I. Lots.
But I don't like that kind of voice, see? And if you want to know, I was talking to my friend who's sitting over there in the dark.
Why is she?
Because she wants a rest and a sit down and a bit of quiet. And so would you if you were a woman.
If I'd been a woman, I'd have packed up years ago.
Women don't pack up. They pack up everything but pack up.
Well, it can for me.
Perhaps it has.
Now, honest to God, that's just what I've been wondering. Yeah, straight. Here, tell me this. Where are we?
Well, we ought to be somewhere welcome stowaway.
Come on.
I say we ought to, but we're not.
Now you're talking sense, Mark. You see, I was nursing the ship's engine. I've been doing it right across the South Atlantic. It was an old engine, well, at least as old as I am. In fact, I'd say older. Yes, older.
Now, are you sure? I mean, I feel we ought to get this point settled.
Now, beautiful.
Oh, drop it.
Here, you're not bad-tempered, are you?
Not at all, no.
Well then, don't be so touchy, no one's trying to insult you.
Look, I've been a barmaid, I've been a waitress. For 10 years now I've had jobs where fellas like you come out with your beautifuls, and we have to pretend to think you're very witty.
The customer's always right, eh?
Yeah, and I can tell you plenty about that too. But the point is, I want to rest from this beautiful line just now. See?
Certainly. What's your name?
Alice Foster, what's yours?
Joe Dinmore, Miss Foster. Or is it Mrs. Foster?
No, it isn't. What do you do?
Well, I told you, I was at sea down in the ship's engine room. But I've done everything except make money. I was in Australia one time, driving tractors. South America, forming on a railway gang.
Ever tried England?
Nah, no between times. But I was saving enough till I made a packet. It's a rich man's country. I've done a bit of docking, and I was on a coast.
I see, Mr. Dinmore. You mean you've tried this and that, and now you're trying this?
I don't know about trying this. Like I said, the last thing I remember, I was down in the ship's engine room. What about you, Miss Foster?
Walked out of my job. It was terrible anyhow. Had 3 quick drinks, started worrying about myself, rushed out into the street. It was dark. Bingo, I'm here.
Bingo, we're both here. I've been making myself fight when I'd waken up somewhere in the jug with a head on me like an old boiler. But if so, I don't see where you come in, Miss Foster.
And neither do I. And this Miss Foster line's getting me down a bit.
I thought you wanted a bit of politeness.
All right, but don't overdo it. Here, what's happening over there?
It's getting a bit lighter, that's all.
What sort of place is this?
Reminds me of a place I saw in Peru one time.
She's asleep.
Good old barn. Let us sleep.
Wouldn't be a kind of castle, would it?
Might be. Then again, it might be a town. Plus these old towns I've walked around and seen them all over the place.
I've seen all the pictures.
Can't see anything yet. What's out of the drop though? No getting in this way.
I say, Joe, I can't call you Joe, can I?
Of course you can, Alice.
What if there's something absolutely wonderful down there?
How do you mean? Wonderful.
I don't know quite. I know if I saw it though. Something different. It's not a bit like London or Newcastle or Birmingham.
No, nor Edinburgh, Port Colombo, Singapore, Chicago, New York.
Ever since I can remember, I've wanted to come suddenly. Something wonderful. All different. To look over a wall and see it. To open a door and walk into it. Don't laugh.
I'm not laughing.
Well, you were smiling.
That's different, Alice. That's friendly.
Yes, that's different, just as this would be different.
Smiling, not laughing. Friendly, eh?
That's it, Joe.
Like old Walt Whitman. Used to carry the book of his around with me. Could spout it by the eye. Do you know what he said? I dreamt in a dream I saw a city. What was it? Invincible to the attacks of the whole of the earth. I dreamt that was the new city of friends.
That's it, Joe.
Sounds fine, doesn't it? I'm glad he said he only dreamt it. What a hope.
Well, I'm a fool, I suppose. But that's what I've always wanted. And that's why, because I'm a fool, I've always expected. I think that's why I've never settled down, Joe. You know.
Just the chap who does know, Alice.
I thought, if I tried a job somewhere else, it might somehow be there.
And it never was it?
No, it never was, Joe.
Ever call yourself a mug?
Yeah, no, you try calling me one.
Oh, all right. I've been calling myself one for 15 years now. No, longer.
Yeah, steady, you're not that old.
I'm 35.
Well, what's that?
Nothing yet.
Guess how old I am?
22.
God, I'm 28.
I don't believe
And I
it.
look it. You wait, I'm feeling tired, and the old face is feeling it, what with one thing and another.
You're all right, you know, Alice.
Thanks, Joe. Here, what about that door?
Let's see. Looks like a kind of watchtower. They have them in these old wall towns.
What do you say? Does that strike you as being old?
No, don't.
It don't be either. Though, of course, they could have just done it up.
No one's going to break this door down in a hurry.
What's it made of?
I don't know. New stuff. Looks like a kind of plastic.
Well, there's no handle or anything to open it with.
No, it's not that kind of door. This door's either tight shut as it is now, or it's wide open. That's the kind of door this is.
I must say, men amuse me. You're suddenly talking about this door, all so proud and grand, as though you just helped make it. I've noticed that before about men.
Here, what do you know about men?
I know plenty.
I'm sorry to hear it.
Left out when I was 17. Wasn't anything else for it. Joined the chorus of a touring review. Had 2 years of that. That was never any good. Been on my own ever since. Working, but trying to enjoy myself too. So you can just work it out for yourself, without men or anything else.
I see. But what are you telling me all this for?
I don't know quite. I suddenly felt what to tell you.
Well, I don't want to know.
Oh, I see.
I don't think you do, but we'll let it pass.
My word, you made me jump.
Sorry, Mum.
What are you doing?
Let them know we're here, that's all.
That door will open when it wants to to open and not before.
Now, how do you know that, Mark?
I have these feelings about it. Nobody takes much notice of me, but I have these feelings about things.
So have I.
Here, what's this man to do with a couple of witches?
No, just a couple of women.
Oh no, dear, there's more than two of us. There's that gentleman and his wife, you know, the one that's a bit jealous. Then there's a golfing gentleman, Sir George Gedney, two ladies, mother and daughter, and a sharp gentleman.
Here, we're quite a little party, aren't we?
Here's a sharp gentleman coming now.
Do you happen to know where I can find the post office? What's the joke? Go on, tell me. Nobody say I can't enjoy a joke.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr.
Cudworth's the name.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Cudworth, but I don't know why I laughed, honestly. It suddenly came over me. See you standing there all fussed and wanted a post office.
Can't see anything funny about it.
What do you want a post office for, anyway?
So I must send a couple of telegrams.
Urgent?
Very urgent. Business, you know.
Oh, business, making money.
That's it.
Or do you need some money very bad?
No, I've plenty, but that's not the point.
Well, what is the point, then?
One of these argumentative chaps, are you? All right, you can't catch me. The point is I'm engaged in some business operations. I can either succeed in them or fail in them. If I fail in them, I look a fool and people begin to think I'm losing my touch. I don't want that to happen. That's why I must send a couple of telegrams.
I said he was a sharp gentleman.
So I am. Thanks for mentioning it. Now then, what about this door? Why are we all standing here arguing about nothing when here's a door?
You've already tried that much harder, but go on.
There's another tower arrangement further on there. I've just been on there with a fool of a woman and a daughter. The woman's a snob, but she's happy now because the George somebody's turned up. Who are we anyway? What are we doing here?
Well, I'm having a nice rest.
And what are you doing when you're not having a nice rest?
Look after a house full of people. I'm going cleaning 3 times a week.
Are you sharp and nosy?
Yes, and I bet you've never kept any job all year, have you?
You mind your own business.
All right, but a lot of things are my business.
Now, I'd say you're one of these fellows who started out as a black-coated worker, clerk or whatnot, and then by never missing a trick and by giving all your mind to it, worked yourself pretty high up in the bossing captain's class.
You wouldn't be far wrong either. What are you, mechanic or something, eh?
Right, mechanic or something.
Jack of all trades, eh?
Right.
Here today, gone tomorrow, eh?
Right every time.
Yes, and where's it got you?
Well, it's got me here. Where's your line got you?
I told you when I was worth, you'd be surprised.
Surprised I wouldn't even be interested.
Now, Joe, don't be rude. He don't look like a Joe, does he?
No, we don't.
Here, what's this? You have been ganging up on me already? Know much about women, Mr. Cudworth?
Yes, I keep away from them.
I'll bet you do too. Take your mind off work, don't they?
That's right. Always interfering. Messy, too.
Messy? What do you mean, messy?
I know what he means. Mind you, he's wrong, but I know what he means.
Thought you would. How many times have I got you into trouble? You know, spent your money. Take your mind off your work. Land you into quarrels. Cost you a job, eh?
Can't remember.
You see?
I might have known when you started out with your hello beautiful. In fact, I did know. I said right at the start. Didn't I say right at the start?
Yes, dear, I heard you. But he's all right. There's no harm in him.
Thank you, Ma.
I say, Mr. Cudworth, do you know what there is down there?
No, didn't see a thing last time I looked down.
Well, you can now. There's a city.
A city? Oh, let's have a look.
You see, it is a city. You can see the avenues and squares. I distinctly saw them.
I can see them. It's not misty yet, but I can see them. Look, Joe.
I am looking at it, but I can't see any avenues or squares, not even out of ground, miss.
You aren't looking properly.
Well, I'm looking properly. Staring the eyes out. Can't see anything but mist. Shapes in it, of course. There might be anything.
And they aren't anything, I tell you. It's a great buildings and houses and streets and avenues and boulevards. It's a city, a marvellous city. I distinctly saw it.
I hope you're right. I believe you are
I'm
too.
not arguing, Dorothy. There's no point in having an argument when we don't know what's happened to us or where we've got to.
That's what I've been saying to you all along.
Just let me finish, please, dear. I say I'm not arguing, but I do insist that never for one moment did I suggest we should go to Tewkesbury. It was your idea from the first. I'm not blaming you, why should I? But I do
There's
say...
a door there.
So I see.
No bell or knocker or anything.
Well, even if there was, I don't see what right we've got to start ringing or banging away. We don't know who lives there.
We can ask them where we are, can't we?
Yes, I suppose so, but you know, it's still very early.
Malcolm, if you won't bang on this door, then I will.
Oh, all right. I'll do it.
Don't bother, pal. We've all tried and they don't reply.
Oh, thanks. You've heard what he said, dear.
Of course I heard what he said.
You see, dear?
Oh, Malcolm, you're maddening.
We think there's a city down there.
I'm sure there is.
Oh, really? A city?
Yes, come and see if you can see it.
Oh, go on, see if you can see it.
Well, wouldn't you like to see if you can see it?
No, I don't think anyone can see anything yet.
I clearly saw it.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. I wish you would be so beastly bad-tempered.
What do you mean?
She means bad-tempered, Mrs. What's your name? Mine's Cudworth.
Stritton.
London?
No, Mr. Cudworth, Leamington. I'm with the West Midlands Bank there.
Can't say I know it. Heard it, of course, but can't say I really know it. I bank at Barclays. Have done for years.
Where do you bank, Miss Foster?
The post office savings, Mr. Dinmore. How about you?
The London and Wide World Rolling Stone No Moss Limited.
You think it's going to be warmer, don't you? I wouldn't be at all surprised, Mrs. Stritton.
I'm beginning to wonder if we're not all crackers.
Crackers? She means cracked, dark, bughouse, barley.
Certainly not Miss Loxfield. Silly idea. Nothing at all. Crack yourself. Just live out of touch with things, that's all.
Well, for that matter, I feel all right. Rather better than you, although that's from staying on for a lot. I feel as if something might just happen.
Yes, so do I.
Yes, well, you look as if rather a lot has happened to you already.
Here, steady.
I know what she means.
No, you don't. You keep out of this.
Oh, but you see, hardly anything happens to me, honestly.
Well, don't you do any work?
No.
Well, if you went and did some work, perhaps something might start happening.
Mother, have a fit.
Well, never have a fit.
Oh, it's all right talking.
I think there's such a lot to be said for that old idea about women's place being the home.
How many girls have you got in your office?
6.
And how many women have you got in your own?
I haven't got any.
Oh, what's the use of you telling us you believe a woman's place is in the home? You don't believe a word of it. If you did, you'd pop those 6 girls out of your office in your own and make a start that way.
Talk sense, man.
Don't take any notice of him, Mr. Cudworth. He's only showing off. I don't know. It sounds sensible enough to me.
Hey! No, people will say they believe this and that, and yet they don't behave as if they do. There's such a lot of pretense about.
Quite right too, has to be.
Why?
Got to keep up appearances, young woman. You'd be among the first to grumble if we started dropping our pretenses. Sort of manners, really, aren't they?
Yes.
No!
I believe you enjoy contradicting people, don't you?
Up to a point, yes.
And I suppose you agree with everybody.
We're not talking about me.
This place reminds me of a town in France you once saw. Do you remember, Dorothy, the Chateau Country? Very beautiful old places they are too. Of course, this place doesn't look particularly old. Quite new, in fact. But somehow there's a resemblance. Don't you think so, Dorothy?
Yes, Malcolm,
Surely she was a Carmichael.
Yes, rather. Her cousin married a cousin of mine. You may have run into him. Tommy Basington. Nice little fellow, Tommy, as long as you didn't have too much of him. His brother Archie, also my cousin, of course, married one of the Logan girls.
Oh, good gracious, yes, those Logan girls. Which one was it? Kitty?
No, Dolly. Kitty came rather a nasty cropper, you remember. I used to go duck shooting with their brother, Piggy Logan.
Used to be Logan running the Thames and Medway Trust. Very sharp he was too. Couldn't put anything past that, Logan.
No, not the same family. Not very brainy, these Logans. Excuse me. You in the city?
Yes, are you?
Oh, good Lord, Mayor. Often wish I was. Got 2 or 3 potty little directorships to take up to town now and then, that's all.
Philippa? Yes, Mother. Remember that woman we met at the party? Mrs. I should not mention any names, but the one who was mixing cocktails. Sir George has been telling me all about her. And I was quite right. She was. But not once, twice.
With what?
Divorced, darling, just as I thought. Not once, twice.
Well, you don't know whose fault it was.
I beg your pardon.
I said you don't know whose fault it was.
Dorothy.
Some of the fellows at the club seem to be making a very nice thing out of West Coast manganese.
Don't touch him.
Didn't think of doing, actually.
I was out on the coast one time. It was hell.
I wasn't addressing you, you know.
Well, I wasn't addressing you.
What do you fellas recommend these days?
Do you want some easy money?
Yes, rather.
So do I.
Well,
That's all for now, but I think I know where to find some easy money.
Except you can't find a post office.
I know.
That gives me a bit of a laugh, that'll do. If you'll excuse me saying so, Mr. Cudworth.
Yeah, don't you be vindictive.
I'm surprised at you, Mum.
Oh, I don't know. cleaning offices for sharp gentlemen like him, I think I'm entitled to a bit of a laugh now. And I bet you don't know who cleans your office, Mr. Cudworth.
Well, that's where you're wrong, I do know. It's Mrs. Sutton. She lives at 56, Booker's Building, EC2. Matter of fact, she's the widow of a fellow who was once a clerk with me. Years ago. Years and years ago. He died long since. Edgar Sutton. I dreamt about him the other night.
My uncle Everard, who was years in the Strait settlements, and then came home to be joint marshal of North Barsetshire, used to dream regularly, once a month, that he was being chased by a leopard. And his man, who had been a long-service non-com in the Dragoons, absolutely reliable sort of fellow, swore that on 3 separate mornings he had seen a leopard coming out of my Uncle Everard's room, in North Barset, mind you, which just shows you that, well, things are pretty queer, really, dreams and all that. Care for another stroll, Lady Loxfield?
Yes, I'd like to. Philippa?
Mother, I'd much rather not.
And I'd much rather you came with us.
Mother, I want to stay here.
Oh, Christians awake! Look there!
A rum sort of show.
Beautiful.
It reminds me of that, what's it, Empire Exhibition at Wembley.
I found that frightfully tiring, didn't you?
Yes.
I bet this isn't a bit like it. Well, Joe, what do you think of it?
Diana.
What do you mean you don't know?
I mean, I've seen places like this before. You see them a long way off after weeks at sea and think you were sailing into heaven. But when you got inside it, God, they stank.
We're not talking about smells now.
Neither am I. I mean, that when you got inside them, the carry on there was so terrible. Poor devils sitting around in rags with their ribs showing through. Kids crawling in the gutters with their faces all running sores.
Oh, shut up! Don't spoil it.
All right, I will. That's why I said I didn't know.
Anyhow, it's not like that down there, is it?
No, I'm sure it isn't.
Looks very fancy to me. Too fancy. Don't care for anything fancy.
Quite right.
What do you think of it, dear?
Peculiar, isn't it?
Yes, it does seem rather a long way from home, doesn't it?
It don't to me.
Doesn't it?
No, it don't.
But, Ma, you didn't. What are you trying to tell us, Ma?
I'm not trying to tell you anything. I have my own ideas, same as rest of you.
That's right.
Oh, Mrs. Batley.
No, dear, that's all.
I went to Venice once, when I was quite young. I went all by myself for 10 days. Venice in spring, before that dreadful war changed everything. I was young and foolish, but I was so happy, so very happy.
But you never told me, Mother.
I never told anybody, Philippa. But you ought to have told me.
I can't see any people down there. And it's the people I want to see now.
Too early. Nobody out yet. Later on, they'll probably open that door.
You going in then?
Certainly. A place that size, well worth looking at.
Agree with you. Ought to be a bit barn in some sort of place. What do you make of the place?
Can't say for certain yet, of course. There's plenty of money there, no doubt about that. Can't put up buildings that size for nothing.
You know about that. Some of these people seem to. Enormous buildings, cathedrals, palaces, all that sort of thing. And nobody in the place but tuppence to bless himself with. Seen that often. Spain, Italy, out east. You'd be surprised. A careful stroll.
All right, I'd say a bit more farther along. Some of these people have the assets, but don't know how to use them. Take South America, for example.
Did you hear those two?
No, I wasn't taking any notice. Why?
Typical specimens of the boss class. Grab, grab, grab. That's all they care
And
about.
what do you care about?
That's not the point.
Well, what is the point?
Here's two typical specimens
Oh, shut up about your typical specimens.
What's the matter with you?
It's not what's the matter with me. It's what's the matter with you. Here we are. And down there is a wonderful place like we've never seen before. And all you can do is to stand there and shake your fat head and not give it another thought. Because you're too busy caring about your typical specimens of the boss class.
So what?
So I say you're as bad as they are, if not worse.
Like hell I am.
I should know, I should know.
Now listen.
Oh, shut it!
matter with her?
I don't know, I'm sure.
I'm surprised that you spoke to her long enough.
No, Dorothy, you know very well I was looking for you.
Yes, you told me that before.
All right, all
It's
right.
not all right.
My wife's rather upset. She's not very strong. This queer business, well, you can imagine. You see, by this time, he ought to be staying with her uncle. He has a large farm, well, 2 farms really, near Tewkesbury. And now, of course, he doesn't know where we are, and we don't either. So she's naturally upset. Perhaps I ought to go after her.
I wouldn't.
Neither would I. Leave her alone.
She's bad-tempered, that one is. Same as that other Judy Alice. Here, Ma. How do you women get like that? All shoving only 1 minute, and the next minute spitting and tearing like wildcats. What causes it?
Different things, same as you.
Oh, no, I can't have that. Not the same as us, can you?
No, I can't, I must say. They seem to lose their temper so suddenly and without any real reason.
Oh no, Mr. Stritton, there's always a reason. Now, Mrs. Stritton went off in a huff, as you might say, because she was upset and worried. And I expect she's one of them sort that once she starts worried about something, worries about everything. Now, she told you talking to that young woman, Alice, so she feels more uncertain still. So she loses her temper with you, just because she made her feel like that, just when she wanted a bit of comfort.
Ma, I can see you know it all. Now, what about that other one, Alice? What made her fly off the handle?
Well, I don't think I ought to let on about her.
Oh, go on, Ma. I'll keep it to myself, and so will Mr. Stritton.
Yes, of course, most certainly.
Well, that Alice is one that's had a lot of disappointments in life. Well, she sees you and she fancies you.
Me?
No, him. And then she's disappointed in you. So she gets mad at herself for expecting anything and being disappointed again. And then she gets mad at you because you made her mad at herself.
I see.
Quite a character, really, aren't you, Mrs. Batley?
No, but I like to think about it and listen to people.
Ma, you've depressed me.
No, just because she's disappointed in you.
No, it's not that simple.
But it's better if it's simple.
Not with me, then. And do you know why? I'm complicated, I am. Are you?
Well, no, I wouldn't say I was. Not simple either. Somewhere between the two, I'd say.
My trouble is I can't believe in the revolution. I'm a revolutionary who can't believe in the revolution. Well, you can see where that lands the fella. Nowhere or here.
What you want is a nice little home.
No, I don't want a nice little home. I spent my life running away from nice little homes.
And where's it got you?
I just told you, nowhere. But that's because I can't believe in the revolution.
What revolution?
The one that's on its way. You're in for it, all right. And wait till you see what it does to Leamington and the West Midland Bank. And I'll bet you're very fond of Leamington and the West Midland Bank, aren't you?
No, I'm not. Leamington doesn't suit me, never has done.
You surprise me.
And as for the West Midland Bank, well, to be frank, I can consider it completely out of date and...
Go on, tell me the worst.
An obstacle to true economic progress.
Well.
And another thing, I consider the chairman of the bank, Sir Herbert Perkins, a mean, contemptible old toad.
Fine. What's use to just whisper it to me? Tell everybody, shout it at the top of your voice. I dare you, do you good, you know, after pussyfooting in that Leamington Bank for years. Go on, tell everybody, let it rip, I'll dare you.
All right. I consider the chairman of the bank, Sir Herbert Perkins, a mean and contemptible old toad.
Good, how'd you feel?
I feel fine.
Malcolm, what on earth are you doing shouting like that? I thought you'd gone mad.
No.
Don't say no, tell her you have gone mad.
Malcolm, are you all right?
Why can't you believe in the revolution, Mr.
Call me Joe. I can't believe in the revolution, because I've gone sour. I don't see people making anything good together. They always seem to make something bad. When they do make anything good, they do it by themselves. But you see, if the revolution's going to be any good, they've got to be able to make something good together. See what I mean?
Not quite, Joe. Give me an example.
Well, take a house, or a pub, or one of those foreign cats, and it's good. No doubt about that, it's good. But that's because one man's done it. But when you get a town, or a city, or country, what are they like? The whole damn lot of them, they're terrible. See?
Yes, I see.
But pals of mine say, look at the condition, look at the system, all wrong. Okay, the conditions are wrong, the system does stink. But that still don't convince me that people can make anything good together. It just doesn't seem to work out that way. I've gone sour.
You talk a lot, don't you?
Yes, I talk and talk.
What for?
Yes, steady, Dorothy.
Why should I mind if I say to him he doesn't care what he says? Tell me to tell you I've gone mad.
I thought you might like him better that way. You've had him saying long enough and didn't seem to think much of it. Do you know, there ought to be a part of a man somewhere no woman can control. One bit of him just out of her reach.
Same with women.
That's right, Ma. I talk and talk because I like it. Because I'm not sure of myself. Because I'm always finding things out. Why are you so disappointed? What is it you want out of life?
I want 3 children and a large garden.
What have you got?
No children, just a small garden.
You see, things have been difficult.
Don't make a personal issue out of it, and no apologies. She's heard him before, and we don't want to hear him, do we, Ma?
Yes, I do.
We'll get together afterwards and sort it out. Must they be your own children and your own garden?
Of course, what do you think I want? To open a day nursery in a public park? I want my own children and my own place.
See what I mean? Nearly everybody still wants their own this and that.
It's understandable, isn't it?
Yes, but you say things have been difficult. And my pals say the conditions are wrong, and I say the system stinks. So up the revolution and let's change everything. But still nearly everybody wants their own this and that. So what good can we do with the revolution? And what good can we do without it? See what I mean?
Up to a point, but I've never thought on those lines.
Well, what lines have you thought
Banking
on?
and credit, the private control of public credit. It won't do, you know, Joe. It simply won't do. We oughtn't to have it. I wouldn't say this to everyone, mind you. But
Why not? Say it to everybody. Have it out with your boss, Sir Herbert Boogie Woogie.
if I had it out with Sir Herbert Grusby Perkins, he'd jolly soon have me out.
Well, you'll probably be out soon anyhow. I mean, what are you doing here? What are we all doing here?
Now you're beginning to talk sense, that's what I want to know. Sitting here chattering and arguing, we don't know where we are, what we're doing here, how we'll ever get back. Look!
Well, I'm going to have a nice look around.
If you ask me, there's more to Ma than meets the eye. Off she goes, first in without even turning her hair.
Perhaps because she doesn't talk so much.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Malcolm, be careful.
Yes, dear, I only want to see what happens. It's all right. There are some steps the other side that lead down to a roadway, that lead straight down into the city.
Do you think we could go in?
Well, I don't see why not. After all, they opened the doors. They wanted people to come in this way. It all seems a civilised sort of a place.
Come along then.
Wide open. Ma left the way and Stritton just followed. There's some steps to you down to the city in about 5 minutes.
Come on, Mother, let's go.
Don't be childish. We don't know what this place is or what these people are like.
Well, whatever they are, they're better than Born Key, and the people can't be much worse.
But we don't know what they like. They might kill us.
Why should they? Anyway, the people in Born Key were killing me.
Well, I think we ought at least to wait for Sir George and Mr. Cudworth.
Mother, I'm going straight through there now. If you'll come with me, I'll be glad. Whether or not you do, I'm going straight through there now.
Just a moment. You're grown up now.
I'm trying to realise that, Mother.
Yes, I realise it, and I can't prevent you from speaking to me like you do, or behaving sometimes as if I were nothing but a stupid encumbrance. But I can ask you not to be so cruel and to try not to hurt me.
I'm sorry, Mother.
All right then, come along. Oh, if you're staying here, perhaps you would be so good as to tell Sir George Gedney and Mr. Cudworth that my daughter and I have gone down into the city.
I'll tell them.
I kind of thought you'd have been the first one. Aren't you coming?
Dunno yet. Might. Might not.
Oh.
Someone get Mr. Cramp.
Oh, no.
So I said, you think that's smart, eh? And he said, well, it's good business, isn't it? I said, I don't know about that. Where's your option? He said, don't worry about that, Mr. Cudworth. I can have that option by tomorrow. He said, no, you can't. It's here in my pocket. You ought to have seen his face.
Serve the fellow right. Hello, where is everybody?
Gone through that door. Lady Loxfield and her daughter went a minute since. Time to tell you.
Door open, eh? I want to see this place, don't you think, Cudworth? Might be something in your way, eh?
Nothing like having a look round. Used to spend my holidays that way, keeping my eyes and ears open. Picked up a controlling interest that way once in the Tormouth trams. Sold out afterwards, of course. Trams no good to me.
Quite. Don't blame me. Tram's no good to anybody.
What is any good to you?
Trying to be smart.
Not specially.
Never pays with me.
I dare say, but what is any good to you?
Money is.
Why? What do you do with it?
Make more money.
So what?
Now listen. Don't think you know it all. Have you ever been kicked about?
Yes, plenty.
That young woman along there, I bet she's been kicked about too.
I'll bet she has.
Yes, well I haven't. Why? Too much money. Now who's laughing?
Well, I'm not crying.
He had you there, though, young fellow. Must have money, don't I know it? Gonna put this golf club down here. Got a fool wandering around a strange town carrying that thing, eh? Keep an eye on us, will you?
Don't promise. Are you what they call an aristocrat?
Don't know about that. I'm the 7th baronet, if that's anything. Good old place in Wiltshire. Landed gentry, I suppose. Why?
Wasn't sure. But where you fellas stepped up was ganged up with him, the boys with money. You should have ganged up with us, the mob, the crowd, the people without any money. I read a piece by Disraeli where he said that. But you didn't, and it's too late now.
I haven't the foggiest notion what you're talking about. Sorry. You know what he's talking about, Cudworth?
Yes. And he's wrong. Now then, I must find a post office, then have a look round.
Right you are, lead on. Excuse me.
Hello, Alice.
I'm sorry I told you to shut it, Joe.
That's all right, I talk too much.
No, I went and lost my temper. I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think I was going to like you.
I know, Mark said that.
What? Oh, her. Yeah, you've been talking me over.
No, she just happened to mention it. Said I disappointed you.
Well, you did, Joe, I'll admit it.
Oh, no treat, you know.
If it comes to that, neither am I.
Oh, yes, you are. I said that the first moment I set eyes on you, the first minute I heard you speak. Joe, I said this one's all right.
But you didn't.
I did, and I've been saying it and thinking it ever since. Look, that door's open.
Oh, Joe! Is that where the others have gone?
Yes.
And you were waiting for me?
I was hoping I'd see you again.
But here I am, Joe. Come on, what are you waiting for?
I told you, I've seen places like this before.
Oh, so have I, for that matter.
Not the way I have. Selling in and
Oh, I know, and they look marvellous, and then when you'd walk round and had a few beers, they were terrible. All ribs and running sores. I heard
All right,
you.
then you heard me.
But this isn't going to be like that.
How do you know?
I've been staring at it for the last half hour. It doesn't look that sort of place. And even if it is, we're here, aren't we? We might as well move about a bit and see what there is to see. Make the best of it. What's the matter with you, Joe?
I'm like you, Alice. I've had a lot of disappointments and I don't want any more.
Come here, you big silly. Oh, no, you don't.
What, never?
Well, never just this time, eh?
Oh, that's different.
And never anywhere by just grabbing.
All right, I'll remember.
But you'll come and look at the city with me, Joe.
Yes, I'll come with you.
Oh, Joe.
Run! I
Post-mortem, please. Post-mortem. Anyone else around?
They're in the kitchen, I think.
In the kitchen. Not bad. For 50 minutes. Mate, you're hammering a little bit tonight. Yeah. It's too much gesture. You're much more impressive than your stuff. You won't. You'll be a very good Christian with this, but somehow so you can. But you're a very funny fellow underneath. And you're going to be too clever. You're much more impressive when you're sitting there just thinking your watch. You're moving. It's okay, you can say we'll quit on it. Somehow they're not quite getting established. When you get in, you become so ready to believe. You're much more impressive than it's a bit lethargic. And if you cut down your gestures by a third, when you do make they'll be much more impressive.
Yeah.
So through the middle, you're reproducing very nice gestures. You're rhythmic and all that, but somehow counterproductive. One or two little things, and Philippa and Lady Loxfield, when you're on early on talking about born key, you must come right to the edge of the carpet. As it is, you're not getting Philippa in the light.
Yeah, with you, I can't push my mother on, can I?
No, I know, but she's passing you the buck. So come right to the middle of the carpet. Then you'll be seen. At the end, yes. Then you'll be seen. We all have to try that. Paul, could we have, give him a bit of room. Just have spot 2 it is, please. Let's get you right. That's better. Now you're in the light. You see it on both of it. And when Cudworth comes in, don't go too far towards him. Stick close to her. You're inclined to wander between the lights.
Yes, Mrs. Stritton.
Have you seen my husband, Mr. Stritton, up here?
Can't say I have, but I've only just arrived myself.
He said if we missed each other, we'd meet up here.
Quite. But there's plenty of time, you know. I'd sit down and take it easy. Exhausting sort of day we've had, really. A cigarette?
No, thank you, Sir George, I don't smoke. I tried several times just to keep my husband company, but I never really enjoyed it. Did you like the city?
No, couldn't stand the place.
I didn't like it either.
Very sensible.
Don't know if Malcolm likes it.
Good God, you surprised me. Didn't think he was that sort of chap.
What sort of chap?
Well, the sort of chap who'd like this sort of place. In a bank, isn't he?
Yes, the West Midland and Daventry.
And a decent, steady sort of chap, I'd have thought.
Oh, yes.
That other fellow now. Stoker, or mechanic, or whatever he is. Fellow who talks so much. Well, it would never surprise me if he liked this sort of place. Just his style, probably. Saw him once or twice, seemed to be enjoying himself, I must say.
He and that waitress girl were trying to do some work in a funny-looking factory when we saw it this morning. The next time I saw them, they were dancing in those gardens.
What garden?
Didn't you see those gardens where they were all dancing?
No. Think I must have dropped off after lunch. Don't care about dancing in gardens, sir, at any time. You shouldn't have thought your husband was the sort of chap who'd want to go dancing in gardens.
Malcolm wasn't dancing in the gardens, it was Joe Dinmore and that girl Alice. Although Malcolm seemed to be enjoying himself and absolutely wore me out dragging me round.
Quite. A little bit of sightseeing goes a long way with me. Always did. Some good-looking girls, though, down there.
Did you think so? I didn't.
No, I don't suppose you would. Like to see a few good-looking girls about. But too many people down there for my taste. Fact is, I don't like people. Always enjoy myself best where there haven't been people. A few decent fellows, old pals, one or two reliable servants, that sort of thing, but not mobs of people. Have to get away from it. Ever tried that shooting?
Good gracious, no.
No, silly question really, but that's the sort of thing. Even when I'm in town, I like to sit quietly in the club. Sensible old-fashioned club, you know. Nobody talks and you can still get a decent glass of wine. But mobs of people like to get down there, all dancing around looking so pleased with themselves. Dreadful. Hello, here's Cudworth. Well, Cudworth, you look as if you've had quite enough.
I have too.
I can't say I blame you, Mr. Cudworth.
How'd you get on, Sir George?
I didn't.
Same here.
Wouldn't be paid to spend another day in the place. Mind you, there weren't any offers. Rather the reverse, in fact. Fellow in that bureau sort of place said to me, well, what can you do? So I said to him, well, I used to do a good deal of hunting, and I still do some shooting and fishing. And the fellow laughed and said, are you a savage?
I'm not surprised. I must say some of the things I saw and heard quite shocked me. I mean, no proper privacy or niceness or anything. Didn't you notice that, Mr. Cudworth?
Up to point. Don't know about niceness. Don't care much anyhow. I said at first the place was too fancy, and I was right. But what really got me down were the people.
Bit peculiar, eh?
Peculiar? Barley. Said to one chap this morning, chap with red beard, who laughed a lot. I said, wouldn't suit me this at all. Never got any proper work done. So he said, what is your work? And I told him. And do you know what he said?
No idea, but I bet it was something damned insulting.
He said, we don't call that work here. So I said, well, what do you call it then? He said, we'd call it crime.
He didn't.
He did. He said, if they caught me at it, I'd be sentenced to a year's road making.
They're not civilised.
Wait a minute, I've hardly started yet. I thought this red-bearded chap must be mad. He looked a bit mad, so I tried someone else, an old fellow who looked serious enough. He asked me if he could do anything for me. So I said I'd like to meet a few of their prominent businessmen in the same line as myself. He didn't seem to understand that, so I explained the idea, just the rudiments. And do you know what he did?
Yes, he laughed.
He didn't. He handed me over to a kind of policeman.
Policeman? I didn't notice any policeman.
Yes, well, this was a policeman of some sort, and this policeman said, I'll have him analysed. I said, look here. I'm a stranger here. Nothing to do with you. Didn't even want to come here. You leave me alone. So they did.
Well, Cudworth, I must say...
I haven't finished yet. I'll tell you about a packet down there. This afternoon, I saw a row of nice shops that just finished decorating. There was a chap looking at them, making notes. So I asked him about them and said they looked valuable little property and so on. He said they were going to build a similar row to the other side of the square. I asked him if everybody knew. He said they didn't. It was still a secret. So I said, well, what about the two of us getting together, forming a little syndicate, getting a quick auction on the site, and with values soon going up and up, and make a nice thing out of it. He didn't seem to understand that, so I explained.
What happened? Another policeman?
No, worse this time. There's a friend of his passing, the whole crowd of school kids. He calls this friend over, and the kids swarm all round us, so I can't move. This friend is some sort of schoolmaster. You can't tell properly what they all are in there, but he was some fancy kind of schoolmaster. Well, the schoolmaster chap asked me a question or two, so I gave him some sensible answers as far as I can, because they're all so damn childish. And then what? And then what?
I give it up.
This schoolmaster chap begins lecturing on me. Yes, on me when I'm in there, can't get out of this wretched crowd of kids.
Lecturing on you? Do you mean as if you were a specimen or something?
That's it, I was a specimen, he said so. Typical inquisitive mentality or something. Said I use now, what's it? Genuine intuitive power antisocially. Because I wanted to compensate a feeling of inferiority.
How insulting, what did he mean?
I bet your boots, that's what I asked him sharp. I said, look here. Started from nothing. Just a little shaver of a clerk nobody cared about, and worked hard and used my wits to try and get someone to do something. Just to show him the no flies of friend Cudworth.
Quiet. What did he say to that?
Asked me to repeat it. He took it down word for word in a notebook. And shook hands and said he was grateful. I tell you, they're off their rockers. Hello, school kids.
Joe hasn't been up here, has he?
No, I haven't seen him since I saw you both dancing.
Oh, that's all right then. Oh, God, not through when I've had a rest. Oh, crikey, what a day we've had.
What a day we've all
Have
had.
you seen my husband?
Yes, I passed him on the road. He's talking to some people there. He said he was looking for you.
He'll be here soon then, I suppose.
I also passed Lady What's-it creeping up the hill. I asked her what she thought of the city. She said she hated it.
Well, so do I.
Oh, you would. But I can't understand her. A woman?
But I hate it.
Oh, you don't.
Of course I do. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I wish to goodness I never set eyes on the busy city. I loathe every bit of it. I could burn it
I
down.
think I will kill you for saying
And
that.
I loathe you too. You should have seen yourself down there, grinning and screeching and making a fool of yourself.
I was having the best day of my life. I was among people who was happy and I was happy. I
what I mean. I talk plain English, don't I?
When I say I don't know what you mean, I'm trying to tell you that I can't understand you, and so can't talk to you properly. To me, you're like something stuffed in a glass case. Both you and Lady What's-it. And anyhow, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to her. Yes, you. And I'll tell you what's the matter with you. You're so jealous you can hardly breathe. You're not only jealous of your husband, you're jealous of everybody and everything. I saw you down there, hating it all, trying to spoil your husband's pleasure, turning everything sour.
Oh, shut up, don't!
The two pins I'd box your ears.
Oh, you just try, that's all. What's the matter with you? Haven't you made any money today? Did you find your post office? And then a man with a red beard who talked about you. I've always hoped in a silly sort of way for something wonderful just round the corner. But I didn't think there could ever be a place as good as this. I didn't think people had it in them to build a city like this. I always hoped that men and women could work and play together like these people do. I'll do anything for these people. I'd die for this place.
Bloody rude.
I wish I hadn't my orders for a few weeks.
Dare say you do, Cudworth. But you're taking it a bit hard, aren't you? After all, she didn't tell you that you were stuffed and in a glass case, did she? Matter of fact, I rather like a girl with a bit of devil in her, you know. Did you ever run across Buster Clayhorn? He used to command the Blues.
I never knew these army men. I've spent my life in the city.
I know, but I thought you might have run across Buster. You might have lent him a few hundred.
I'm not a money lender.
No, of course not. I'm sorry. Well, Lady Loxfield. Tiring pull, isn't it? Come and sit down.
Thank you. I ought to have left much sooner, but I couldn't drag Philippa away. And in the end, I had to come away without her. But I expect she'll be here quite soon.
Enjoy yourself down there?
Certainly not. I'm used to being treated in a certain way, used to certain standards. You understand?
Understand perfectly. Know just how you feel.
Such impertinence everywhere, too. When I inquired about charities, because I've done a great deal of voluntary charitable work, the girl simply laughed and made the most impertinent remarks.
She didn't give a lecture on you, did she?
No, of course not.
You don't know the man here yet, then. This morning there was a chap with a red beard.
I was talking about Buster Clayhorn. He used to command the Blues. Did you know him?
You said Dorset Clayhorn. Marjorie Clayhorn married an Australian, and they came to spend several days with us at the residency at Tego.
No, not the same. Buster was one of the Leicester Clayhorn.
You sound as if you're talking about cattle.
Nonsense. Talking about an old friend of mine.
Well, go on then, but what does it matter whether it's a Dorset Clayhorn or a Leicester Clayhorn? Call it an idiotic way of talking about people.
You seem in an extremely bad temper this evening, Mr. Cudworth.
He's had a bad day.
Oh, poor Mr. Cudworth.
Don't waste any pity on me. Besides, you may need it for yourself before long.
Indeed, why?
Well, for one thing, your daughter's never there yet, is she?
She'll be here any moment now.
And when I saw her down there, she seemed to be having the time of her life.
Well, really, Mr. Cudworth, Philippa's young and naturally she enjoys a change. I can't see that.
No, you can't see, because you've missed my point. You see that sun? Setting, isn't it? And when it has set, that door will be shut. And nobody can get in, and nobody can come out.
You mean Philippa will be locked in? Thank you, Mr. Cudworth.
Not at all.
I need hardly tell you you're not behaving
Like a gentleman. I'm not a gentleman. Never pretended to be. Not interested.
I suppose they told you how you could find your way home.
Yes, rather. Did they tell you?
They did. In fact, it was the only thing I wanted to know. They weren't very pleased with that, of course. But they didn't tell me. They, Mrs. Stritton? Perhaps they told your husband.
I'm sure they didn't. And he wouldn't ask. He doesn't want to go back.
Disappointed in him, he dances in gardens.
You don't want to stay in this absurd place, do you?
No, I hate it.
Better stick with us then. We know the way back. Thundering good job, too.
Did we expect to see you coming out?
No, rather not. Thought this place would have been just your style.
It is just my style. In fact, it's a lot better than my style.
I hope there isn't going to be an argument. I'm getting rather tired of arguments.
That's all right, I don't want any arguing.
You seem to me to like arguing.
So I do as a rule. But you see, today hasn't been any ordinary day for me. Today's been a most extraordinary day. I've seen something today I never expected to see, something I'd given up all hope of seeing.
Really? What's that?
A city full of busy people and happy people and healthy people. A really civilized city.
You say that because you're enjoying yourself. I saw you.
Yes, I enjoyed myself. I had a good time. But that's because I'd seen a really civilised city at last.
If you don't want any argument, you'd better not say any more, because none of us here agrees with you.
No, I can believe that.
Depends partly on where one's come from, and what one has to go back to.
True for you. And you can imagine where I've come from and what I've got to go back to. Not much.
You said it, not me.
That's okay, I'm saying it for you. But you see, there's another difference. You four. Well, you're all old-fashioned.
What do you mean old-fashioned? I'm not old-fashioned.
Neither am I. Pride myself on being up to date. Have to be back to my business.
No, I mean your minds. They all work in the good old-fashioned style. All you keep saying to yourselves all the time is, damn you, Jack, I'm all right.
Certainly not.
No argument now.
No argument. Go on, lady.
Well, all I want to say is that if you think that we, well, at least that I am indifferent to the distress and suffering of these people, then you're quite wrong. And I deeply resent the suggestion. I was only saying a few months ago, when I inquired about charity work, because I've done a great deal of voluntary charitable work, I was laughed at. Why, I can't imagine. I always considered it my duty.
That's okay. I'm not saying you're hard-hearted. But in this city, they don't believe in that kind of charity. They believe in social justice, and they've got it. And that's something you don't understand. You don't even like the look of it. And as long as you're sitting pretty yourselves, you don't mind being surrounded by lots of people who are wondering where the next meal's coming from, when the next job will turn up, how the kids are going to live, and how you're going to keep up your strength to see them through. That's what I call being old-fashioned.
Now, wait a minute. I'm an individual.
You're a little pirate and you know it.
That isn't what they called him here, is it, Cudworth? What was it? Specimen? No.
All right, we don't want that all over again. Besides, I agree with what he said about you. You are old-fashioned.
Never said I wasn't. I call that a compliment.
Even when stuffing and glass cases came into it.
What on earth do you mean?
Oh, you came into it too. She mentioned you.
Who did?
Your friend, the waitress.
Has Alice been up here?
Been and gone, after giving us all the rough edge of her tongue. You'll have to be careful there, young fellow.
Was she looking for me?
Yes, everyone's been looking for somebody.
Well, I'm not. I've had enough of this. Hanging around, wasting time. What about pushing off?
No, please wait and then we can all go back together. It'll be much safer.
Safer? There's no danger. Just a safe going back to what's coming out.
Quiet. Well, we can only give you a quarter of an hour. Care for a stroll as far as the next town?
I'd like to, but I'm rather worried about Philippa.
She'll be here waiting for you. Do her good. Come in, Cudworth. Better stretch our legs or we'll get stiff, and that seems extremely hard.
I've had enough traipsing around these damp walls.
But it won't be, you know.
Won't be what?
As safe going back as it was coming here.
Why not?
You wouldn't understand if I told you.
Are you trying to frighten me?
No. You'll be safe enough. You'd be safer still if you were dead.
That's a nice thing to say.
Oh, I don't know, Mrs. Stritton. Haven't you ever wished you were nicely, safely dead?
Yes, sometimes I have.
Thought you had.
Well, aren't you?
No, not in that way. Not nicely and safely. Dead. Once or twice when I felt... Ma! I thought some of the others would want to go back, but not you, Ma. I'm disappointed in you. I thought better of you.
Now, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about you, Ma. I thought at least you would want to stay down there, not come creeping back here.
Like to hear yourself talk, don't you?
Don't take any necklace off you, Mrs. Barley.
I don't.
Did they tell you how to get back?
No, I never asked her.
Oh, you have to come along with us then.
Thank you for the invitation, Mrs. Stritton. But you see, I'm not going back. I'm staying here. I only came to get me basket. I might as well have it.
That's the girl.
I'm surprised at you, Mrs. Barley.
Who's that?
I thought you said you had a lot of responsibilities, looking after people, keeping a home together, going out cleaning.
So I am. I've had years and years of it. Sometimes I could have done with half a dozen pairs of hands.
Well, you can't leave it all to stay here.
Can't I? Who says I can't? For as long as I can remember, people have been telling me what I can do and what I can't do. And no thanks for it neither when I do what I can. Well, they can look after themselves for a change. It'll do them good.
I'm surprised to hear you talking like that, Mrs. Barley.
I dare say. But today I feel like speaking my mind.
That's right. Go on, Mum.
Well, down there it was different. They said to me, well, what do you think about it, Mrs. Barley? And I said, it's lovely. It's how things should be, I said, and so it is. When I saw all their children coming out of their fine houses, and all their mothers looking so nice and smiling, and everything so clean and pretty, I could have cried. And I said to them, there don't seem much here for someone like me to do, but whatever there is to do, let me do it, I says. And they say, thank you, Mrs. Batley. sir, it wouldn't be it would be a pleasure. But they said to me, you take it easy, Mrs. Buckley, take it easy and have a good rest and look after yourself. Oh, and they've given me as nice a bedroom as ever you saw. All to myself too, first I've ever had to myself. I fancy I dreamt it once when I was a girl. And all them gardens and the bright streets and the children's faces. I fancy I dreamt it once when I was a girl. I remember being quite upset at the time, thinking it was nothing but a dream, just tormenting yourself, as you might say. But it ain't. It's real. It's here. Well, look after yourself, Mrs. Stritton. Now behave yourself, young man. I suppose you're delighted.
Yes, I'm delighted.
What are you doing up here then? Why aren't you still down there? Why aren't you having a lovely time too?
I have a reason.
Well, what is your reason?
Can't tell you.
I wonder if there's anybody you can tell.
With any luck, yes, but that's not saying much because I'm usually out of luck.
Most of us are.
But today I have a feeling that I just might be lucky. Mrs. Stritton, this is serious. Are you going to give that chap of yours a break?
I don't know what you mean.
No, you won't know what he means either. Stonewalling. Well, you'll win. Because stonewalling always wins. Except, of course, you'd always lose it because in the end, that's all you're left with. Stone walls. You wouldn't know what I was talking about, would you?
No, something silly.
Some of you pick up any little bit of happiness and wring its neck as if it was a chicken.
Why do you keep insulting me?
I'm trying to save your life.
My life isn't in danger.
You've got a knife at its throat now.
Don't be so beastly. Anyway, what is it to you? You don't even like me.
No, but I like life and I don't want to see it poured down the drain like dirty water. Your husband's coming now. I hope by the time I get back, you'll have got rid of the body. They say that's the most difficult part.
Dorothy, where have you been?
I've been here waiting for you.
Oh, we should stay on. Honestly, Dorothy,
I want to get away from here. I want to go home.
But I don't even know the way.
Some of the others do. We could go with them. They'll be going soon.
Well, why should we go? You know, if you'd have only stayed down there a little longer and seen what...
I saw all I wanted to see and I told you what I thought about it.
Yes, but...
I tell you, I hate it. I hate it. I loathe it.
But why, Dorothy? Why do you?
I suppose you think it's so wonderful because you saw that waitress girl bouncing about and enjoying herself.
No, of course I don't. She's nothing to do with it. I hardly noticed her. Surely you don't dislike this place simply because somebody else does like it?
No, that isn't the real reason. The very sight of her romping round is enough to put me off.
Well, what is it that you don't like about it?
Don't let's start
I don't
arguing.
want to start arguing. I only say, what is it that you don't like here?
I told you before, I don't like any of it. It's silly. It's common.
Common? It seems to me very uncommon.
You know what I mean, Malcolm, and all of them looking so pleased with themselves.
Well, why shouldn't they look pleased with themselves? There's something to look pleased about. I was asking...
And then they've no decent manners. They don't know how to behave properly. And everybody pretending to be as good as everybody else.
No, Dorothy, that's not quite true. There's some people, men and women, great thinkers, scientists and artists, that they admire and respect and look after far better than we do any of our really great people.
Oh, don't go on and on about them. I've got eyes and ears as well as you.
Not when you don't want to, you haven't.
What does that
It means that you'd made up your mind you wouldn't like this place and the people in it. I don't know why. It was as strange to me at first as it was to you. But I wanted to find out about it, and you didn't. You'd made up your mind.
Well...
And now you're ready to make up mine for me. You're trying to make me dislike it too. And you can't do that, Dorothy. Do you see? I won't have it. I know. I know you just closed your mind. Wouldn't try to learn anything. Just said the first stupid thing that came into your head. Anything. Anything rather than ever admit you were wrong or try and change yourself or open your heart and mind and be generous.
You hate me now, don't you, Malcolm?
No, I don't, but I easily could. You've done this before, but this is the worst. And I won't be bullied and cheated out of something I think and feel. I like that place and those people. It's a much better place than we've ever known before. They're much better people. They're alive. They're doing the things I've always wanted people to do. I'm going to help them.
Malcolm!
All right, Dorothy, don't cry.
You're going to leave me?
Well, I haven't left you. I'm here.
You don't love me.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't. If you did, you couldn't think of leaving me like that. I couldn't leave you.
Well, I haven't left you.
I know I'm silly, and sometimes I behave stupidly. Somehow I can't help it. Sometimes I hate myself. Sometimes I wish I was dead. And Joe Dinmore said that. Somehow he knew. He said, haven't you ever wished you were nicely, safely dead, Mrs. Stritton? I don't see how he could know that especially about me, but somehow he did. And that's upset me, that and one or two other things he said. It's all been so queer ever since we came here. Coming here and meeting all these people we didn't know. And going down there and watching it taking you away from me. Coming back up here and waiting. It's been horrible. I think you don't understand what I felt about it, Malcolm.
Perhaps not. I can't see why. I mean, it all seems so different to me. I don't think I'm going to like it when we get back.
Malcolm, you're coming back with me?
Yes, I'm coming back with you.
Oh, darling, you are good to me. Don't think I don't realise how good you are to me. I think I'd have died if you'd left me.
I wouldn't have left you. Yes, I know I went back in there again, but I thought that you might follow me and that then you may have changed your mind.
I couldn't have done that.
No, you couldn't have done that. Still, we'll go back. But I know I'm not going to like it.
Yes, you will. You'll forget this. And I'll do everything I can to make it better. We'll see more people, the sort of people you like. I'll make friends. I know I don't find it easy, but I will. I'll make friends. It'll be different, you'll see. We might take that house in the Crescent. Or perhaps you could leave the bank altogether. Malcolm, if you went back with Mr. Cudworth, perhaps you could ask him if you could work for him. I'm sure he'd pay you much better than the bank does. So then you can get...
No, I don't want to work for him.
But Malcolm...
Drop it, Dorothy, I'm coming back. That's enough.
Yes, all right.
Time to go right, haven't I?
Yes.
We want to go back and I don't know the way, neither does my husband. Have you seen the others?
Yes, they're along there.
I thought you liked it down there.
I did.
Well, why come back up here then?
I have a reason.
I hope it's a good one.
It is. Didn't know you were a comic.
I'm not. Why?
Heard you making them shout with laughter down the road there. What was the big joke?
I was explaining our financial system.
I'm going back. No point hanging around here any longer, wasting time. Not going to wait for those two, neither. Better snobs.
Can we come with you, Mr. Cudworth?
Certainly, if you're ready now.
Oh, we are, aren't we, Malcolm?
Yes, but don't forget what I said, Dorothy. No asking for jobs.
No, dear, of course not.
Well, I knew it would happen, but I'm sorry.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Oh, you may see me again sometime.
It would be all right if I did, but I don't think that's likely.
Oh, you never know. I might remind you then what you've seen and heard here today. Don't go dead and cold on me. Keep it warm and alive inside your pal. All the best.
Malcolm?
Yes, dear, I'm coming. And all the best to you, too, pal.
Hello.
Hello.
That's not my mother who's just on, is it?
No, Cudworth and the pair from Leamington.
Oh, I don't guess they'd wanted to be on.
You've been right about two of them, but wrong about the third. Stritton. He's all right. Or soon could be. Your mother's along there was George. By this time, they'll have got round to the Derbyshire Snookses and the Hampshire Higginses.
I wouldn't be at all surprised. Where's your girl?
If you mean Alice, she's still down there. But why do you call her Michael?
Don't be silly. I saw what was going on between you two from the start, and the way she was looking at you down there this morning.
You don't see her looking at me up here now, do you?
Why don't you go down and find her then?
Because you've got to come up here and find me.
Why should she do all the running around?
It's nothing to do with running about. I've got to stop out here, that's all.
Then I'm disappointed in you. I thought a man like you, once you found a place like that, wouldn't have wanted to change it for the world. Remember what you said this morning, when I told you to shut up and not to spoil it? When Alice and I said it'd be all right. Then you said you wouldn't believe it till you've been inside, because you've been taken in before. Remember?
Sure, I know.
And then you come back here and tell me you've got to keep out. Seems to me you're all talk.
I mostly talk, but don't let that worry you.
It doesn't. Why should it? Quite suddenly, I don't give a damn.
I should say that for your mother. She's here too.
Well, darling, we're ready for going. I expect you are too. Well, Philippa?
Mother, I'm not coming back.
Don't be absurd, darling.
Mother, I'm not coming back. I'm staying here. I came up to tell you that I'm staying here.
Quite impossible. I told you what I thought of the place this morning. Nothing would induce me to stay.
But I'm not talking about you, Mother. I'm talking about me. And I've made up my mind.
You're tired, darling.
I'm not tired. I'm not any of those things you've been telling me I was for years and years. Every time I've tried to make some life of my own, I feel cool and calm and sensible. And I know exactly what I want.
not.
You're talking to your mother now, dear, not to a stranger. There's no need to glare and shout.
I'm sorry, Mother. I didn't mean to, but I can't go back there. Going back there would be a kind of slow death. Those people in Bournemouth aren't real. They only want to keep on existing from one meal to the next, from one bedtime to the next, from one bit of gossip to the next. You aren't really like that, Mother. Look what you said about that time going to Venice. But now you're afraid of anything to change.
And why not? I'm getting old. I've lost your father. I've lost the life we had together. But I've tried to do my best to keep what's left.
Yes, but there isn't anything left worth having. Time for you, there isn't. And for me, it's not living at all. And now that I've seen this, I've been amongst the people down there. It wouldn't be possible for me to go back. Mother, the children. When I saw them this morning, I could feel myself coming alive. There's something in my heart suddenly snapped. I could have cried without him. I said to the women down there, please let me stay. I'll do anything. Wash, scrub. I don't care what it is, only let me stay. They said I could. They're so friendly and so real. Oh, Mother, can't you understand?
I can see that you're excited and rather abroad, darling. I know it's been dull for you living here with me. And I've tried in more ways than you know how. Often I'm self-sacrifice to make it less dull and more amusing.
But it isn't a question of being dull or amused. It's more serious than that. I'm really a serious person.
Then if you are Philippa, I have a right to remind you that serious people have a sense of duty. And you are my only child, and I have no one else now but you, and you have some duty towards me.
I don't simply want to get away from you. It isn't that at all. Mother, I tried your kind of life. Why can't you try mine?
Because I don't think it is your kind of life. And I'm certain it's not mine. After all, I should know better than you do.
You oughtn't to know better than I do. Why should you? I can't see any evidence of it. You don't even like what you say you like. You only put up with that dim sort of way simply because you're afraid of anything else. I don't call it living. I don't want to leave you. I hate to think of you going back there alone.
I'm glad of that. I am your mother. I brought you into the world. I loved you. I looked after you.
Yes, Mother, but you didn't bring me in the world simply to keep me away from it. I must make my life just as you once made yours. And if now you prevent my doing that, then we may say goodbye. That's all.
No, Philippa, I'm too old to change.
I must, Mother.
No, Philippa, you can't leave me. You mustn't leave me. I'm ready to go now, Sir George.
Yes, certainly, Lady Loxfield. Great pleasure, great pleasure. Staying on, eh?
Looks like it.
That door shuts at sunset, you know, so better make up your mind soon whether you're going out or staying in.
I know, but thanks for mentioning it. Bye.
Fine. This way, I think.
I believe you said you knew the Prescotts.
New Tubby Prescott, very well. Marvellous shot, old Tubby Prescott.
He married one of the merchants ago, didn't he?
For God's sake, no! Well, Alice, you made it.
Don't stand there grinning at me, you damn great ape.
Well, what do you want me to do then?
Get down on your knees.
Okay.
Or I could kill you.
What for?
For making me come out.
Why did you then?
Because I'm a woman and a damn fool.
Go on.
Go on. I've gone from there. I've said enough. Too much.
You liked it, don't you?
You know I did.
It's good, isn't it?
It's what I've always wanted, what I've always hoped for. I've always believed was somewhere around the corner if we could only find it. And there it is. I've always hoped that men and women could live like that if they tried. Life hadn't to be a dog fight round a dustbin. We've made it like that, but it needn't be like that. Here they start every morning, feeling as we only go for about half an hour every 2 years, half lit at somebody's birthday party. That's don't work to keep themselves out of the gutter. They work because they've got something big and exciting to do. They can see their life growing, they're building it up, and they're enjoying it all. Not passing the time waiting for the undertaker. Before that door opened, when we were all up here talking, you said you didn't believe in this.
I know, I take it all back. I've seen it for myself.
I saw it in your eyes. I heard it in your voice when we were down there together. All those kids, Joe, do you remember?
I shan't ever forget for as long as I live, Alice.
Oh, I must sit down. My knees are going.
Go on, Alice.
Go on. Haven't I said enough? It's about time you started talking.
Not yet. I've plenty to say, but not yet. You've got to tell me.
You certainly pick it hard for a girl, Joe, I must say.
I've taken the hard road too. You'll see, Alice. You can behave like a woman. I can behave like a man. A real woman, a real man.
Well, if I hadn't been down there, been amongst those people, I couldn't talk like this. I'd have been shot first. I've always been proud, though you mightn't think it.
I knew you had. I could see that. I know about you.
Okay, then. I'll tell it all. But be careful. If I hear anything from you that sounds like a laugh, I'll kill you or throw myself off that wall.
There won't be. What you take me for?
Before that door opened, when we were all up here talking this morning, I liked you a lot. Only I wished you'd believe in something. Remember how I lost my temper? That was because you weren't just what I wanted you to be. I was angry with myself as well as with you. I don't know if that makes sense to a man, but any woman will understand. Then when we went down there, and we saw what it was like, you were different. You're what I wanted you to be. Your mother must have seen you like that when you were a little boy. You were happy. You were eager. You believed everything you saw and heard. That's true, isn't it?
Yes, that's true.
So then, I knew I loved you, Joe. It came in a flash. This is it, I said to myself. I knew it was. I hoped you loved me. You looked as if you did.
I did. I still do.
Are you sure?
Certainly.
Oh, that's all right then. I really don't know how you could with all those wonderful looking women down there. Made me feel like something that crawled out of a dustbin.
You didn't look it. Besides, that's where I came from too. You looked with your eyes all shining what I felt. And that's something the rest of them wouldn't understand because they hadn't come here the way we'd come out. So you were different.
Oh, you do understand. You see, Joe, I thought then we'd started something between us that would take a long, long time to finish. So when you disappeared, I didn't worry about you. I thought you'd gone to look at some machinery or whatever it is you like to look at. I never thought you'd leave the place. I knew it was what you'd always wanted. It was our place. We could stay there. They told us that. So I didn't worry about you until it started to get late. Then I started looking for you and asking for you, and nobody seemed to know. Till I saw Mrs. Buckley. She said you were up here waiting for me, she said. I ran and ran. I was blazing wild. You heard me. But I had to come out if you'd come out, Joe. I had to be with you. It wouldn't have been the same without you, Joe.
That's what I hoped. That's why I waited and waited.
But why?
I daren't go back once I'd made up my mind and come out. There were some nasty cracks about that, but I had to take them. You see, I felt if I went back, you'd try and persuade me to stay, or even if you didn't, I wouldn't have guts enough to come out again.
Why shouldn't you stay? For God's sake, don't tell me this isn't what you want either.
No, don't you see? Someone's got to go back.
But some of them have gone back, haven't they?
Yes, I expected that. Cudworth's gone back. Mrs. Stritton's gone back and taken her husband with her, poor devil. Sir George and Lady Watson have gone, even though Lady Watson had to lose her precious daughter. Yes, they've all gone, and what good is it going to do anybody that they have gone? If they ever say a word about this place, they'll swear blind that it's terrible. So somebody's got to go back and tell the truth about it.
And that must be the bloke I go and fall for and tack myself onto. It would just have to be.
Yes, it must. That's just what it must be.
All right, I was trying to be funny. Tell me what you mean.
I mean, you wouldn't want a chap who could keep this to himself.
Okay.
You said you had to come out because I'd come out.
Yes, because I'm a woman. That's how it takes you.
And I say because I'm a man and not just a monkey. I've got to go back and tell them all that we've seen here today. Before I knew it was wrong, you heard me. But what was the use of getting up and spouting about it when I didn't know if it could ever be put right?
And because you know now?
I've got to tell them. I've got to keep on telling them day and night wherever I am.
Wherever we are?
Wherever we are, I've got to keep on telling them.
We've got to tell them, Joe. How do we get back?
How did we come here? Some kind of miracle got us here to give us a test. And if we pass that test and we're ready to go, it'll get us back okay. But it won't be easy when we are back, you know, Alice. It'll be a hard road. Some of them will laugh and jeer, just because they don't want anything different. They're frightened of losing some miserable little advantage they're scheming and work for. They think they can't enjoy their own health unless they know lots of other people are dying on their feet. They don't want to lose the whip hand they've got over somebody. They'd rather have their little privilege and prestige in an ash pit than take a chance and share alike in a new world. Some of them, poor creatures, are so twisted and tormented inside themselves that they envy and hate other people. And we'll have to talk to plenty of them.
Obviously, it isn't going to be easy, Joe. It's going to be hard.
You don't know half of it yet, Alice. And then there are all the smart boys, the kind I was, who've had to take plenty and know it's all rotten, but won't have it that you can see anything any better. They get big laughs at your expense. I know, I've been one of them. And there'll be plenty of them too. And there'll be days, rainy days, dark days, when nobody wants to listen, when the butcher hasn't been paid and the grocer looks at you sideways, and you've nothing to smoke and they're asking you when you're moving on to the next town. And then we shan't be sure ourselves we were ever here.
Oh, Joe, the night's going. We must have one last look. All the lights coming up along the terraces and the gardens. Oh, Joe, we would never forget the gardens.
We'll not forget any of it, Alice.
Oh, couldn't we stay after all?
You could, I must go.
You're not going without me.
Well, then you can't stay.
Goodbye, my lovely city. I don't know when I'll ever see you again.
There, Alice, take it easy, kid.
I don't want to go back, Joe. It'll seem worse than ever when we do.
No, it won't. Because to begin with, we'll remember. That's why we've got to go back. Because we're the ones who've been and seen it all. And then we'll hope. And keep on hoping. And every time we find a spark of hope and vision in anybody, we'll blow it into a blaze. The time can't change human nature. That's one of the oldest excuses in the world for doing nothing. And it isn't true. We've been changing human nature for thousands of years. But what you can't change, Alice, no, not with guns or whips or red-hot bars, is man's eternal desire and hope and vision of making this world a better place to live. And wherever you go now, up and down and across the seven seas, you can see this desire and hope and vision growing stronger, beginning to light up men's faces, giving a lift to their voices. Not every man, not every woman wants to cry out for it, to work for it, to live for it, and if necessary, to die for it. But there's one here, one there, a few down this street, some more down that street, until you begin to see there are millions of us, yes, armies and armies of us, enough to build 10,000 new cities.
Like our city?
Yes, like our city, where men and women don't work for machines and money, but machines and money work for men and women, where envy and greed and hate have no place, where want and disease have vanished forever, where nobody carries a whip and nobody rattles a chain, where at last men have stopped mumbling and gnawing and scratching in dark caves and have come out into the sunlight, and no one can ever darken it for them again. They're out and they're free at last. I dreamt in a dream I saw a city, invincible to the attacks of the whole of the earth. I dreamt that was the new city of friends.
Come on, Joe. Let's get going.
Right at the end. come right down here to the edge of the carpet.
That's what I was pushing you for.
Could we do again? Could we have spot 2 again? Yes, what I want you to do, you were okay. Bring on spot 2 a bit earlier. Let's get them in the right place. Yes, you have to come right down to here, I think. A bit further, right at the edge of the carpet almost. You come up to me now, will you, Pip? That's better, yes. You'll have to come right to there.
Do you want the marks? Okay.
No, you can do it on the carpet. Okay, now look, just 1 or 2 little things. I know Malcolm liked it. That was beautiful.